Picture this. It's early morning, and you're sitting quietly with a simple notebook in your hands. The world is still waking up around you, but in this moment, you're about to embark on a practice that has transformed lives for over 2,000 years. You're not just about to write in a journal. You're about to engage in an ancient ritual of self-discovery, emotional mastery, and inner peace. What if I told you that some of the most powerful leaders, philosophers, and wise individuals throughout history shared one common practice, a practice so simple that anyone can do it, yet so profound that it can reshape your entire relationship with stress, anxiety, and the challenges of modern life? This practice is Stoic journaling, and today, I'm going to show you exactly how. To make it a transformative part of your daily routine, in our fast-paced world, we're constantly bombarded with notifications, demands, and emotional turbulence. We react instead of respond. We worry about things beyond our control. We lose sight of what truly matters. But imagine if you had a daily practice that could help you navigate life with the calm wisdom of a philosopher, the resilience of a warrior, and the clarity of a sage. This is what Stoic journaling offers you. The art of reflective writing wasn't invented in our modern age of self-help books and productivity apps. It stretches back to ancient Rome, where emperors and slaves alike discovered that the simple act of examining their thoughts on paper could unlock extraordinary inner strength. Marcus Aurelius, arguably the most powerful man in the ancient world, spent his evenings writing what would become known as his meditations, personal reflections never intended for publication. Yet they became one of history's most influential works on philosophy and personal development. These weren't just random thoughts scribbled in a diary. They were deliberate exercises in self-examination, moral reflection, and mental training. When Aurelius wrote to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He wasn't just recording a nice idea. He was actively training his mind to focus on what he could control and let go of what he couldn't. Seneca, the Roman statesman and philosopher, made evening reflection a cornerstone of his daily routine. Each night, he would examine his day like a judge reviewing a case, not to punish himself, but to learn and grow. He understood that true wisdom comes not from reading about virtue, but from practicing it daily and honestly assessing where we fall short. Epictetus, who began his life as a slave and became one of history's greatest teachers, emphasized that our judgments about events shape our reality more than the events themselves. Through written reflection, he taught his students to separate their initial emotional reactions from their reasoned responses, creating space between stimulus and reaction where wisdom could flourish. But why does this ancient practice work so well, powerfully in our modern lives? The answer lies in understanding how our minds process experience and emotion. When we encounter challenges, disappointments, or stress, our minds often react with a flood of thoughts and feelings that can overwhelm our rational thinking, get caught in cycles of rumination, anxiety, or anger that drain our energy and cloud our judgment. Stoic journaling interrupts these patterns by creating a structured space for reflection and rational analysis. When you write about your experiences through a Stoic lens, you're not just venting emotions, though. That can be therapeutic. You're actively training your mind to distinguish between what you can and cannot control, to identify the lessons hidden within difficulties, to align your actions with your deepest values. The act of writing itself slows down your thinking process. Your hand can only move so fast. Your pen can only form letters at a certain speed. This natural limitation forces you to be more deliberate with your thoughts. You can't race through your reflections the way your mind races through worries. Instead, you must carefully consider each idea, each observation, each lesson learned. Moreover, when you write by hand, research shows that you engage different parts of your brain than when you type. The physical act of forming letters and words creates a deeper connection between your thoughts and your memory, making your insights more likely to stick and influence your future behavior. The Stoics understood something that modern psychology has confirmed. We become what we repeatedly think and do. If we repeatedly focus on what's wrong, what's unfair, or what's beyond our control, we develop habits of mind that make us more anxious, frustrated, and reactive. But if we repeatedly practice focusing on our choices, our growth, and our responses to challenges, we develop mental habits that make us more resilient, peaceful, and effective. Now, let me guide you through the practical steps of creating your own Stoic journaling practice. This isn't just theory. This is a blueprint you can start using tonight. The first step is setting your intention. Before you even pick up a pen, you need to be clear about why you're doing this. Stoic journaling isn't about documenting your daily activities or expressing your emotions for their own sake. It's about becoming a better version of yourself. It's about developing the mental clarity and emotional resilience that the ancient philosophers called wisdom. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to become? What virtues do I want to strengthen? What mental habits do I want to change? Write these intentions down, because they will serve as your North Star when the practice feels difficult or when you're tempted to skip it. The second step is choosing your time and place. The Stoics were practical people who understood that good intentions without good systems rarely lead to lasting change. You need to decide when and where you'll journal, and then protect that time and space like you would protect something precious. Many people find morning journaling powerful because it sets the tone for the entire day. You wake up, perhaps before the rest of your household, and spend a few quiet minutes examining your mind and setting your intentions. There's something beautiful about beginning each day with this act of self-awareness and purposeful thinking. Others prefer evening journaling, following Seneca's example of reviewing the day that has passed. After the world has settled down, you reflect on your experiences, extract lessons, and prepare your mind for tomorrow. There's wisdom in both approaches. You may find that different seasons of your life call for different timing. The key is consistency. Choose a time that you can realistically maintain, even when life gets busy or challenging. Remember, you're not just writing in a journal, you're building a practice that will serve you for years to come. As for place, find somewhere quiet where you can think without interruption. It doesn't need to be elaborate. A corner of your bedroom, a spot at your kitchen table before everyone else wakes up, a park bench, if weather permits. The ancient Stoics often wrote while traveling, in military camps, or in simple quarters. What matters is not luxury, but consistency and focus. Now, let's talk about what to actually write. This is where many people get stuck, staring at a blank page and wondering what a philosopher would say. The beauty of Stoic journaling is that you don't need to be profound or poetic. You just need to be honest and thoughtful. Start with daily questions that guide your reflection. These questions, inspired by the practices of ancient Stoics, help you examine your day through the lens of wisdom and virtue. Here are some powerful ones to begin with. What challenged me today, and how did I respond? This question helps you examine your reactions to difficulties. Did you respond with wisdom and virtue, or did you react emotionally? There's no judgment here, just honest assessment. If you responded, well, acknowledge it and be grateful. If you didn't, ask yourself what you can learn for next time. What was within my control today and what was beyond it? This is perhaps the most fundamental Stoic practice. Every day, we encounter situations that test our ability to focus our energy on what we can actually influence. By regularly examining this distinction, you train your mind to naturally recognize where your power lies and where it doesn't. How did I practice wisdom, justice, courage, and self-discipline today? These are the 4 cardinal virtues of Stoicism. You don't need to have dramatic examples. Maybe you've practiced wisdom by listening before speaking. Maybe you've practiced justice by treating someone fairly despite your personal feelings. Maybe you practiced courage by having a difficult conversation. Maybe you practiced self-discipline by choosing a healthy meal or avoiding a gossip session. What am I grateful for today? Gratitude isn't just feeling good about nice things that happened. For Stoics, gratitude is a way of recognizing the abundance that already exists in your life, even amid challenges. You might be grateful for your health, for a friend's support, for the lesson learned from a mistake, or even for the strength you discovered in facing a difficulty. The 4th step involves reflecting on virtues and vices. The Stoics believed that our character is shaped by our daily choices, and that we become virtuous through practice, not just good intentions. Each day offers dozens of small opportunities to act with wisdom or foolishness, justice or selfishness, courage or cowardice, self-discipline or indulgence. In your journal, honestly examine these moments. Where did you choose virtue? Celebrate these victories no matter how small. Where did you fall short? Acknowledge this without harsh self-criticism. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress and self-awareness. For example, you might write, "Today when my colleague took credit for my idea in the meeting, I felt angry and wanted to publicly correct them. Instead, I took a deep breath and chose to address it privately later." This was a small act of wisdom and self-discipline. However, when I got home and my partner asked about my day, I was still carrying that frustration and spoke more harshly than necessary. Tomorrow, I want to practice letting go of workplace stress before I walk through my front door. The fifth step is recording lessons from challenges. The Stoics had a revolutionary perspective on difficulties. They saw them as training exercises for the soul. When you face obstacles, setbacks, or disappointments, your journal becomes a place to extract wisdom from these experiences. Don't just write about what went wrong. Ask deeper questions. What did this challenge reveal about my character? What skills or virtues did it help me practice? How can I be better prepared for similar situations in the future? What would Marcus Aurelius or Seneca do in my position? Remember, you're not trying to convince yourself that bad things are actually good. You're training yourself to find value in learning in every experience, which is one of the most powerful skills a human being can develop. The sixth step brings us to the Stoic approach to gratitude. This isn't the superficial gratitude of think, positive thoughts. Stoic gratitude is deeper and more realistic. It acknowledges that everything we have, our health, our relationships, our opportunities, is temporary and not guaranteed. This doesn't make us pessimistic. It makes us more appreciative of what we have right now. Write about 3 things you're grateful for each day, but challenge yourself to go beyond the obvious. Yes, you're grateful for your family's health, but can you also find gratitude for the difficult conversation that helped you grow? Can you? Appreciate the setback that taught you resilience? Can you be thankful for the ordinary moments that make up most of life? The 7th step is the evening reflection technique that Seneca practiced religiously. As you prepare for sleep, review your day like a gentle but honest teacher. What went well? What could have gone better? What did you learn about yourself? What do you want to focus on tomorrow? This isn't about beating yourself up for mistakes or dwelling on problems. It's about approaching your life with the curiosity of a scientist and the compassion of a wise friend. You're gathering data about your patterns, your triggers, your growth areas, and your strengths. Write as if you're talking to your future self. What advice would you give? What reminders would be helpful? What encouragement do you need to hear? Sometimes the wisest words we ever receive are the ones we write to ourselves in moments of clarity and reflection. As you develop your practice, you'll start to notice patterns in your writing. You'll see which situations consistently challenge you, which virtues you're strengthening, and which areas need more attention. This self-knowledge is incredibly valuable because you can't change what you're not aware of. Your journal becomes a record of your growth, a collection of hard-won wisdom, and a source of encouragement when times get tough. When you read your past entries, you'll see how challenges that once seemed overwhelming became manageable with time and perspective. You'll notice virtues you've developed and wisdom you've gained through experience. The ancient Stoics understood that philosophy isn't just an intellectual exercise. It's a way of life that must be practiced daily. When Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the universe is change, our life is what our thoughts make it, he wasn't just recording a nice quote. He was actively training his mind to embrace change and take responsibility for his mental state. When Seneca wrote about the importance of treating each day as if it might be your last, he wasn't being morbid. He was practicing a mental exercise that helped him appreciate the present moment and focus on what truly matters. When Epictetus taught his students to examine their judgments about events, he was giving them a practical tool for emotional freedom. Your Stoic journal is where you practice these same mental exercises, adapted for your modern life. You're not trying to become an ancient Roman philosopher. You're trying to become the wisest, most resilient, most virtuous version of yourself. Remember, the goal isn't to write perfectly or to sound philosophical. The goal is to think more clearly, respond more wisely, and live more intentionally. Some days your entries will be profound insights that surprise even you. Other days they'll be simple observations about ordinary moments. Both are valuable. Don't worry about spelling, grammar, or elegant prose. This writing is for you, not for anyone else. Let it be messy, honest, and real. The power isn't in creating beautiful sentences. It's in creating a beautiful life through daily reflection and conscious choice. As you continue this practice, you'll discover something remarkable. The act of writing about your experiences changes your relationship with those experiences. Challenges become opportunities for growth. Mistakes become lessons in disguise. Ordinary days become chances to practice extraordinary virtues. You'll find yourself becoming more patient with others because you've practiced patience with yourself in your journal. You'll become more resilient in the face of setbacks because you've trained yourself to find meaning in difficulties. Become more grateful for simple pleasures because you've practiced noticing the abundance that already exists in your life. This is the true magic of Stoic journaling. It doesn't just record your life, it actively shapes it. Every time you choose reflection over reaction, gratitude over complaint, or wisdom over impulse, you're not just writing words on a page. You're sculpting your character one day at a time. The journey of self-improvement through journaling isn't always easy. There'll be days when you don't feel like writing, when the practice feels pointless, or when you struggle to find anything meaningful to say. This is normal and expected. Even the ancient Stoics had difficult days. On these challenging days, remember that consistency is more important than perfection. Write just a few sentences if that's all you can manage. Ask yourself just one question instead of all 7. Key is maintaining the habit, even when you don't feel like it. Often, these reluctant writing sessions produce some of your most honest and valuable insights. Also remember that growth isn't always linear. You might journal consistently for months and still find yourself reacting poorly to stress or struggling with the same challenges. This doesn't mean the practice isn't working. Character development is like physical fitness. It requires ongoing effort and maintenance. The Stoics would say that the practice itself is the reward, regardless of the immediate results. As you develop your Stoic journaling practice, you might want to occasionally read the original works of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. Not because you need to become a scholar, but because their words can inspire and guide your own reflections. You'll find that their struggles and insights are remarkably relevant to modern life, even across to millennia. You might also notice that your understanding of Stoicism deepens through your writing practice. Concepts that seemed abstract or difficult when you first read about them become clear and practical when you apply them to your own experiences. This is exactly how the ancient Stoics intended their philosophy to be learned, not through memorization, but through daily practice and application. Consider sharing some of your insights with others, not necessarily your private journal entries, but the wisdom you've gained through the practice. When you help others develop resilience, practice gratitude, or respond to challenges with virtue, you reinforce these qualities in yourself. The Stoics believed that wisdom is meant to be shared, not hoarded. Most importantly, be patient and compassionate with yourself as you develop this practice. You're not trying to become perfect, you're trying to become more conscious, more intentional, and more aligned with your deepest values. This is sacred work that deserves your respect and commitment. As we come to the end of our time together, I want you to imagine yourself 6 months from now, having maintained a consistent Stoic journaling practice. Picture the person you'll become through daily reflection, conscious choice, and virtuous action. Think about the challenges you'll face with greater equanimity, the relationships you'll nurture with more wisdom, and the peace you'll feel knowing that you're living according to your highest values. This isn't just about writing in a notebook. This is about taking control of your inner life, and through that, transforming your outer experience. Every morning when you sit down with your journal, you're making a statement about who you choose to be. Every evening when you reflect on your day, you're actively participating in your own growth and development. The ancient Stoics believed that we all have the capacity for wisdom, virtue, and inner peace. These aren't special gifts reserved for philosophers or saints. They're natural human potentials that can be developed through practice and attention. Your journal is where this development happens, one day at a time, one reflection at a time, one conscious choice at a time. So take that first step. Find a notebook that feels good in your hands. Choose a time that works for your schedule. Set aside a space where you can think clearly and begin the most important conversation you'll ever have, the ongoing dialogue with your highest self. Remember, you're not just writing about your life, you're actively creating it. Through the ancient wisdom of Stoic journaling, you're joining a tradition of thoughtful people who understood that the key to a good life isn't found in external circumstances, but in the quality of our responses to those circumstances. Journey toward greater wisdom, resilience, and inner peace begins with a simple act: putting pen to paper and asking yourself, who do I want to be today, and how can I make that choice real? The answer to that question, explored honestly day after day, will transform not just your journal, but your entire life. The sages of antiquity are waiting to guide you through their timeless wisdom. Your future self is waiting to thank you for the discipline and self-awareness you're about to develop. And your present moment is waiting for you to infuse it with the intentionality and virtue that come from living an examined life. The page is blank, the pen is ready, and the wisdom of ages is at your fingertips. Begin tonight, begin tomorrow, but begin. Your soul will thank you for it.